You've heard my background. I've worked for several decades in the industry, worked with over 30 countries around the world with tourist offices, as well as private industry, and involved in a number of projects today, including the nonprofit that was mentioned before. So now let's jump right into it. And what's the future of tourism for India? Well, as an American philosopher, Yogi Berra used to say, the future ain't what it used to be. Think about that one for a second. The first thing I'll talk about, and is signified by the yoga, is the dim sum life, or what I call the dim sum life that we all lead now and how it will impact travel. So we all know dim sum, those little pockets of food that we eat, and that's how we're starting to live our lives. No more big meals. We're taking a little of this, a little of that in our everyday life. It goes beyond the tapas that we eat or whatever. Think about it. We don't want a burger anymore, but we'll order 3 sliders. We want everything in digestible bites, whatever it happens to be. Even here, the pakora is we want it in small digestible bites. That's how we do it. So we go to restaurants and we get that. But think beyond that. Look at how we consume media. No longer do we look and see 17 minutes and say, that's acceptable, but we'll go and watch 30-second splits, 30-second shorts, and we'll watch that for an hour and a half. That's how we consume. We exercise. No more half an hour on the treadmill, 20 seconds here, 30 seconds there. You go to a class, a minute seems forever. Even the way we educate ourselves. No more scrolling. Now it's 15-minute books. This is how we learn. So what's the impact on the individual now? In 2000, the average attention span was 12 seconds. Today, it's 8 seconds. That's our attention span. And think about it. We're competing with goldfish who have 9 seconds attention span. So we're in a changing world. How does that impact travel? It's hard to see this, but this is 4 activities in the morning, 3 activities in the afternoon, 2, and in the evening. This is what we have to plan. This is one we pulled out, EF Adventures, a bit of everything, a lot. This is a 13-day trip in Thailand and Phuket. And everything from zip gliding to natural wonders to parks. So we looked at this and said, what actually are the activities that you're doing? These are the activities. That seems like a lot, right? That's only the first half of the time. These are all the activities you're doing in 13 days. That's a lot. New Zealand, we found this. Great active New Zealand. That's a lot to do, especially if you're doing it in one day. But there's an itinerary out that says that. And this is my favorite. There's now progressive dinners for groups. You go to one restaurant for your drink, you go to another one for the appetizer, another one for the main, and another one for dessert. So this dim sum life, this is what we're living. So be prepared because our presentation will be in dim sum. So for you, what's the action item? First, you need to figure out how to compile those activities, how to compete on those activities, and most importantly, look around this room. How do you complement the other people in your industry with these activities? Because you can't do it on your own anymore. We've heard about this before, the end of seasonality. Without a question, this has been a groundbreaker. Thanks. There's a couple of positives out of COVID. The reality is we created our own seasonality and we can solve it. Certain destinations, Iceland, they renamed their 4 seasons and that's how they market. Harbin in China, it's cold as can be. What do? Let's do an ice sculpture contest and keep people coming back for this and being creative in what we do. So take advantage of it. South Africa, one of the most beautiful countries in the world, has 2 seasons, the red wine season and the white wine season. Okay, in the winter, red wine perfect in front of the fire. In the summer, white wine perfect at the wineries. So think outside the calendar. How do we work with that moving forward? One of my favorites is you all have to develop a get lost strategy. Now, what do we mean by lost? A lost strategy is a length of stay tactics. All right, so what does that mean? I wish all the tourist boards would have forgotten about arrival stats. That should be the 3rd or 4th thing they're thinking about. As a business person, that's not what I'm thinking about, how many clients I have, but how much money I can get from them. From that, think about this. First of all, the length of stay impacts more diverse stakeholders, both in and outside of the tourism industry. Secondly, the length of stay impacts more diverse stakeholders too than just the hotels and the accommodations and a few tours, because the longer they stay, the more involved they get in things. The next is everyone benefits because they go beyond the traditional places that they do. The more time they have, the more time that they can travel geographically and spending more time at a place. Also, there's no need for more airline seats. Olivier talked about the seats, but if I want a 10% increase, I don't need 10% more seats. I need one more day from everyone. And I get the same 10% increase that I want from that perspective. And the other thing is it's softer on the environment. Less people traveling, the more benefit it is to the earth. And finally, your ROI increases without needing to increase volume. That's really what you want as a business company on that side too. Also, when you think about your acquisition cost, that gets dispersed over several days. For example, in Africa, the safari, the difference between somebody staying for 3 days and 4 days is not a 25% increase in revenue, it's a 50% increase in profit because their acquisition cost is so high. And do you guys have a fresh clicker by chance? This one's really slow. Think quality, not quantity. The other one is flexibility and dynamic pricing. When are they coming? When's the season? How can I price this? This is one of my favorites. Change fees on everything. First of all, what's the timing? If they're coming at 3 to 4 when it's my slow time, discount it and bring it up. Everybody else does dynamic pricing using AI. You can do this instantaneously. But this is one of my favorite. This is a Delta Airlines and the difference between basic and main cabin. Okay, what's the real difference? 2 things. On main cabin, I have the opportunity to change my ticket. That's really all it means. And what do? I'm paying 25% more for that privilege. You think about your business. If every 4 people paid that much more, you had another sale, which allows you to self-insure. So make charges. It's there and people want that. Moving on to B2B. B2B is no longer B2B. It's B2B, B2C, B2B to B2A to B2C. There's 100 different ways to look at it right now. So you have to keep a relationship with all the people. I used to be a professor and I used to put up this chart about how people travel. This is how the consumer, the retail, you know the whole thing. Then everything changed. Everybody's jumping over everybody. Everybody's complaining about jumping over everybody, but then they do it themselves too. Our recent research showed something really interesting. The consumer goes to the retail travel agent, to the inbound, to everybody. No big surprise there, except they do it on the same trip. They book part of it with a retail travel agent. They part of it with an inbound tour operator. And they don't know the difference. They're just talking to a travel agency in India or somewhere else. Some for the wholesaler, and they're using points for the product. So it keeps changing. Next, we need to prioritize our markets and redefine your audience. Who is your audience? Do you define them? How did you define them? Was it by family size? Is it by where they are in their stage? Is it by culture? What are the definitions? Redefine that definition because these are your people. They don't look like they used to in a bunch of silos. And that's how I used to say, this is this audience, this is this audience, this is this audience. You've got to break all those silos completely. This guy, is he an adventure traveler? Is he a luxury traveler? Is he a budget traveler? Guess what? Yes! He's all of them, potentially on the same trip, doing 5-star stuff and then doing 3-star stuff. The definition of family's changed. Who is my family? How am I going to reach these people? Look at these people. Oh, they must be the cruise people that we talk about all the time. Oh, wait, they're at Machu Picchu. They must be adventure market. Oh, gee, they're beachgoers. They're the same people. We all do it. We don't take the same trip every time, and we don't stay at 5 or 6-star hotels. Then once you define them, we have to find them. And this is the hard thing. Do you want to go global or local? Because we all have just limited resources. It's fine to be local because if we can make all our money doing that, fantastic. The bigger you get, the more money you have to spend on this market, and it's going to be harder. So think of your target. Do you want your target local or on a big thing? And where are these people that we're trying to reach? We're talking about B2B. Are they where they used to be? I don't know. And is it a growth market or an established market? You know, my business, we always say it costs 6 times more money to get a new client than it does to keep an existing client. So on the B2B, don't get so preoccupied with new unless you've experienced the old too, and making sure that that relationship's good. I've developed what I call an entrepreneurial equation. It's very simple. You spend 90% of your time keeping your current clients happy, and the other 90% of your time trying to get new clients, because that's what it means to be an entrepreneur. The reality is, what are your touch points with your partners? How often are you talking to them? How often do you call them and thank them for business? How often are you proactive? Do you have a calendar saying, this is how often I talk to these people? Am I using AI to say, this clients are A clients and I need to talk to them every month? These are B and I need to talk to them every other month. These are C, these are the potential and I need to accelerate it. Identify 3 key markets and stay focused. Spreading yourself out dilutes all your energy. Next big dim sum for you, trade shows are changing. This is not far away from what's going to happen. It's changing very quickly. Not just digitally, but the way we work it and the way we operate it too. What's better, the virtual or the in-person trade show? The answer, yes, because we're at this point where you have to do all of them. The virtual ones are happening and you've got to do stuff. It's affordable, it can be effective if you're creative. I would challenge you and say, is the trade show the best thing that you do digitally, or do you break away and do something completely different? Maybe instead of the virtual trade show, you find it affordable, effective, and something's happening here. Okay, well done. Maybe you do something change and you do an online cooking class. Imagine you taking 50 clients of yours that are scattered around the world and do an online cooking class for Indian food. Send them all a kit, do something all together. It's fantastic. On the in-person trade shows, think collectively. Think about your B2B partners and your contacts. Who are these people and how are you going to work with them? Okay. All right, something's happening. They're on the move. They might not be where you think they are. So I'm going to come to the US and do a trade show, and I know where my clients are. I know where these agencies are. Gents, any batteries here? So I just went to the Signature Travel Network, one of the big consortia in the US, and they're California-based. Most of their agencies are on the West Coast, and then they started really growing. They're an $8 billion conglomerate now. For the last 15 years, they've had their trade show, their annual trade show that many of you have gone to in Las Vegas. I talked to them and they said, no, we're actually moving to Orlando. But wait a minute, most of your agencies are on the West Coast. Why would you do that? Because of the majority of our agents, the travel advisors, are on the East Coast and in the Midwest. The agency might be there, but I'm not going into the office anymore. I'm doing it out of home. So there might be a California agent with 20 agents in North Carolina. So they're going closer to where they are, not where the agency is, but where the specific advisor is. So know your audience, do the research, or get an AI assistant to do the research for you. Now, maybe you've gone to WTM or ITB or USTOA. I was just at USTOA, and there's 150 brands there, and you get all the appointments. So how do you do this? How do you decide? Which ones should I do? Which one should I invest my money in? This is another great place where AI can be your friend. Here's the description for each one. Throw that all into AI. This is my company. Who should I be talking to? And say, okay, who has the propensity to buy my product? Then have AI write the email to you, for you, and say, here, I'm hoping with you. I collected with you. I went through this. Make sure you do the math before you do the trade show. Is it really worth it? I see all these people, oh, we had a great trade show. Fantastic. How much did you book? I don't know. How do you know you had a great trade show? Answer that in 6 months when you get some bookings. You need to make it a 3-year investment too. There's a 40-20-40 rule for trade shows. 40% is the prep, not just showing up, getting the appointments, understanding the business, all of that stuff. 20% is the event. That's how your time should be split. And 40% is vital is the follow-up. That's where the rubber meets the road and you really need to work at it. So every trade show should be a 3-year investment. You're not going to turn it on the first year. You've got to keep going. Figure out what your measurement tools are and then utilize those. And remember something I was taught a long time ago. What are the most two important things that a salesperson needs? Their ears. I see all these people coming to trade shows. I've got 12 minutes. I have an 11.5-minute presentation. And then I'll ask the questions. Ask for questions first, get the answers, and then tailor your presentation. And AI can help you on that. Use AI to research the attendance at the next event. And maybe you don't even go to that event because the propensity for sales is not what it should be. Another big trend, travelers want to come back meaningfully different and better. The wealthier you are, the more you want something out of this. Where's that area? Wellness. But how do you define better? And more importantly, how do you measure better? I had a great time. Wellness is one of these categories, crosses across all parts of travel, and you can influence it along the way. Plus, the money that's being spent on wellness-related travel will double in the next few years. And there's a lot of ways that you can integrate this wellness into what you're offering. It can be with celebrities. These are wellness trips with specific people or certain activities that you're doing. It's measurable in other ways, from a tech way. Oh, how many times people say, I did 20,000 steps while I was there. I was able to do this. I lost 4 pounds. I got healthier. My cholesterol went down. There's a measurement there. There's wearable tech that at the end of 5 days at this hotel or at this resort, I measurably am better than I was. There's all sorts of things you can do. You have to be creative in everything that you do. I love this from Six Senses. 65% of their guests participate in wellness programs with 50% rebooking. As soon as I feel better, I'm ready to rebook before I even leave the place. So create tangible ways where a traveler can measure their experience with your product. Not just it's good, it tastes good, it's this. What's the measurement that I can do it? Blended travel is the new bleisure. Now, what's the difference? It used to be I'd do one and then the other. Now it's all, because it's dim sum, we put it back and forth. We used to go to a visa form, and this is going to have to change. Are you here for business or pleasure, or both? And the reality is we're doing more and more both. This is the whole concept of bleisure. This is not the reality anymore. This is it. And this is also where you get the length of stay. Here's a stat. In Pacific Asia region, Airbnb, 1 out of 5 people stays at least 30 days. Which means they're spending money all over the place and having impact all over the place. Just from the American market, 2 out of 10 check work emails constantly during vacation. And at least another 10% are lying. Right? 6 out of 10 Americans check their work emails at least sometime while on vacation. At least sometime. And probably another 10% of them are lying. I myself see people at Disneyland on their phone. I asked a guy, I said, you doing some work? And he said, yes. Really? And he said, if I didn't have this phone and I couldn't do emails while I'm waiting in line, we wouldn't be coming to Disneyland. So if one feeds the other in a good way. We all multitask. This is probably you in your room at the end of the day, checking emails, seeing what you're going to do tomorrow, and being out there. So create a landing page as an action point just for blended travelers, showing them what more they can do, showing them that you'll give them a discount on Sunday night because Sunday night's never good, but they can do more for themselves when they're there. Now, we've been talking about AI. AI is here. It's been here. If you've been using predictive text for the last 20 years, you've been using AI. Okay? So it's not a question of what's here, it's a question of what's next. Here's my most important point. AI won't take your job, but the person who knows more about AI than you do will. Now, how much are we using AI, and how quickly can we use AI? Because it's the elephant in the room. Let me just show you this. Hopefully.
अगर आपको लगता है कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस दुनिया नहीं बदलने वाला, तो मुझे यह समझाइए कि मैं आपसे हिंदी में कैसे बात कर रहा हूँ. ये सब कुछ बदलने वाला है और पहले से ही बदल रहा है.
Not bad, huh? 20 minutes to set this up. That's it. So you can imagine what we can do. So this is an American stat, 60% of travelers prefer human recommendations. Everybody says yes. What does that mean? That means 40% want AI. 2 years ago, it was 27%. What will it be in the next year or two? This is the reality of it. What are they using it for? Comparing flights, researching activities, finding hotels, creating itineraries. This is 4 out of 10 people are doing this type of stuff. So what's the trip? How do you plan it? Here's an Indian trip. We asked for a 7-day foodie journey through India, and it gave us this. Now you might say, well, I'm not going to book that, but this is a starting point. Do you want to be at the end of the funnel, or do you want to be at the top of the funnel when you can have the most influence? This is another point from examples. Find 99 ways to explore Dubai. Made in Singapore. This is a great one where there's Vespa sidecars and all this other stuff. And it's a conversation that they're having with you that gives you this result. Here's this. Do you have any questions? What is it on? Soul, my soul. This is it. This is the way it's going. So we had a little play with India. Discover your perfect Indian getaway. Is this your first time to India? First-time visitors, what matters most to you? Natural landscapes, et cetera, et cetera. How much time do you want to spend? Who are you traveling with? Crafting your selects, and we can put together stuff from this. If you don't have this on your website, you're not thinking about the future, because your competition does, and they're pushing it through very quickly. So you need to do as more as you can, and then you can speak with the expert. Think of this. High tech should allow for more time for high touch. That's the reality of how you use this stuff. So build an AI tool that helps your audience find the information they need very quickly. And remember, everything you get out of AI gives you the research of what kind of things you're doing. Connection has to be everywhere. It's now required. It's like running water. 1 out of 10 travelers say they seek to escape technology. Once again, what does that say to me? 90% want it. And they're going to continue to want it. So you want to roam, and maybe Starlink. If you don't think you have enough, Starlink's the easiest, cheapest way to get connection. To the point, I was born in Missouri in the middle of the country. Maybe you heard of Target stores. It's a big department store there. They're selling Starlink in Target for $200. So it's no longer an excuse like, I don't know if I can get connectivity where I need to. So find the connectivity dead zones in your hotel, in your destination, in your resort, and fix them very quickly. It's the easiest thing to do. One of the biggest trends is going to be accessible tourism is becoming mainstream tourism. Very importantly, too. 16% of people on Earth experience some form of disability. Okay? That's a lot. By 2050, 1 out of 6 people will be over 65. Think about that, over 65. How many steps did we have to take just to get here today? Okay? Here's some of the challenges faced by disabled travelers. 96% encounter accommodation issues. Half get a different room than they booked. 50 deal with hotel beds that are too high. Some of us go into a bathroom and go, oh, a bathtub, oh my gosh, I'm already feeling danger, right? Here's the reality. 96% encounter issues with accommodation. If you're a hotel provider, this is an issue for you. And something to keep in mind, 70% of disabilities are hidden. We tend to think about accessibility and like the guy in the wheelchair. No, there's so many more that we don't think about. Everything from cognitive impairments, from motor impairments, touch impairments. There's 100 different things, but these are serious considerations. And as the audience gets older, you've got to do considerations. I've talked to somebody who operates a huge mall, and what are they doing? They're doubling to tripling the amount of benches in the mall. Because they know the seniors can't walk for that long, and after 20 minutes or an hour, they're like, we need to go. Let's give them some resting areas, so they need to stay. So those are the types of consideration. Easy way to action this. Walk the property with your grandmother or your great-grandmother and say, let's walk around this property. Where are the problems? Where are the challenges for you? Find that and you'll start to do it. Less is more, and we need to do this every single day. I go into my local grocery stores. It's called Whole Foods. That's me paying my bill. Forget about my phone tap. It's now read my hand. They have a record of my handprint. I literally scan my own product and put my hand down, and it pays, and I get the bill. And of course, a day later, it tells me everything else I need to eat, because based on what I've been eating. But in travel, we have all sorts of things, from eye scanners to everything else that are happening, and that's going to be the future. If you haven't heard, take a look at Waymo. They're driverless cars. I get them in Los Angeles all the time. They've racked up over 100 million miles, and pretty soon they'll be selling them to individuals. But it's going to rethink the automobile and how it's worth. And even in travel, I've already seen this, that there's motorized wheelchairs that are automatic and driverless. Line up your frontline team and find out when you should go paperless. They're the ones who will see the pain points from you. Social only works when you're social. It used to be 2 out of 3. Next year, it'll be 3 out of 4 on social. And the future of social is very simple. It's AI, right? It used to be you could try to do a personalized, but now it's on another level. It used to be, and this gets me every time somebody says, we're going to post something on social. That's not social. That's monologue, not dialogue. Now you need to start personalizing it with each individual and using AI to do it. This was the German tourist office has developed Emma, which is she's an influencer, completely AI generated. So develop a brief for your on-brand chatbot using ChatGPT. If you guys are marketers, SEO, I use a lot of SEO. It's going to be gone in a few years. Search engine optimization will change to search experience optimization. Brands like Google search are going to go down. That's why they're working so hard on AI, because AI-powered searches are taking over. It used to be when you did a search, after you would get your pages, you'd go to Google, and that was the big player. But now the information that AI searches is all over the internet. A lot of times it's passive. So you need to come up with new stories. It's not more advertising, it's more stories and more information, more creative ideas. Singapore Wonderland, all these sorts of ideas. Palau now has something creative. They started the Palau Pledge. When you get your passport stamp, you have to sign a pledge to the children of Palau that you will take care of the place. This is all newsworthy activities. Come up with 12 stories that you can talk to your brand, and you'll have monthly news about it. Marketing's getting harder to measure. It's not like it used to be, oh, here's my marketing and here's what I do. It's all over the place, and it makes it much more difficult. We have an old expression, half the money I spent on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. And that's going to continue, I hate to say it. We used to be, and we always used to say art and science match when it's marketing. The reality is, although these marketers try to tell you, oh, it's all about the science, it's all about online, let's find the perfect person. Here's the news flash. I can take you to the best parties where the most likely people to buy will be there, and they're ready to buy. The difference is, if you don't have a personality, you're still going home alone. So you need to balance the science with some art. Remember, educate yourself on all this. You don't have to be always ahead of the curve. You just need to be able to see the curve to get ahead. Your brand matters more than ever. What makes your product unique? If no two experiences are alike, how come they're all starting to look the same? I think this is hysterical. Every time I travel, I need to jump off a cliff into the water. I didn't know that at home. And then after that, I need to find a hammock, because all my Sunshine Beach ads have to say this. Or I need to backpack, and I need to wear a fancy hat to backpack through the market. So the question is, who are we? We have cultural interaction. Who doesn't? We have important history, once again. We have the best nature. I don't know how we're measuring that. We have the best shopping. Oh no, we're better than that. We have locally curated boutiques. Okay, we're just playing with words here. What's different? We got the best restaurants. Oh no, we have award-winning chef, different food-forward eating experiences. Or we just have authentic food. Okay? What is your difference? Because we're all saying that. And some of the tour operators I hear, we have the friendliest guides. This one I love. Oh, we're very personalized. No, we have set departures. So make up your mind, guys. We're very exclusive, but we can handle big groups. Okay, you guys know it. Oh, we can do everything. I got this, I got that. I got it all. And the worst time it is, we're just like this, or just like that, which means you have no differentiation. And stop using the same words. We're unique experience, experience, experience. We know that, that's part of it. Or authentic, authentic. I love this one, how to be authentic. If you've got to read an article, you're in trouble on that one. And oops, sorry. Everybody wants to know what's the most authentic destination. I'll tell you, it's Disneyland. Why? Because what they promise is exactly what they deliver, and that makes them authentic. If you want another destination that's really authentic, it's Las Vegas. Because once again, what they promise is exactly what they deliver. But tour operators and hotels are personalized, customized. You see these words all the time. This doesn't make you different. This makes you one of all of them. If you're everything to everyone, you're no one. Think about this. How do I stand out in the pool? You don't. Find a lane. Go to your lane and work on your lane. A diverse destination with someone for everything is never going to work. Who are you? Is it best time for first timers? Where's your personality? I love this one. We're in the middle of the wine list. Okay, at least there's a personality afforded to it. Another great stat that dictates a lot, 64% agree the destination I visit says a lot about who I am, especially when I'm going to post it. This is now reflective. I made this decision that says about me. I want to travel to a friend's house. I want that destination to be my friend. So you need to become a distinct personality. So here's my challenge for you. Olivia gave you 3 seconds. I'm going to give you 1. If your organization was a watch, what brand would it be? If you don't know instinctively, you got to really re-examine. I can't buy 5-star on this and that. Who's your partner here? If you're an automobile, not what do you want to drive, what's your organization? What would be the hotel car that picks everybody up? If I'm tech even, what's my association with tech? How am I different? These guys all have their own brands and they all have their own feelings and everything like that. If I'm an outdoor product, who am I like? We can't say 5-star, 3-star for every man anymore. We've got to do everything like that. And most importantly, if I could afford a celebrity, who would it be? Who's the person who's going to represent my company? Who's that celebrity? Do you know? You'll be driving home and think about this. And if that's not enough of a challenge, think about it for your own brand. What car are you? What watch are you? Who would the celebrity be who would play you on that movie about you in the future? As an old line, until a character becomes a personality, it cannot believe, by a tourism guru, Walt Disney. And then remember, we've always been taught about a unique selling proposition. That's not enough. How am I different from everybody else? That was the question. And I'll tell you, I think you guys can do this. I can say, okay, why do this? And you can tell me why to do this, and I'm sure it's good. Why do this? I've always wanted to dive in this part of the world. Why do this? Of course I want to do safari. Why do this? Yes, I want to take the boats in Kerala. Why do this? There's no question about this. I want to do this. I want to go to Machu Picchu. I want to do this stuff. Why do I want to camp here or hike here? There's no question about why do this. That's the unique selling proposition. The big question is why now? The Taj Mahal has been here so hundreds of years, so we can wait another few until I get there. Nothing will change. Olivia talked about sports. Now there's a reason I have to go. Is there a season I need to go to? Is there something that's immediate that I need to go here? So think not only your USP, but think your TSP, your timely selling proposition. I'll do that one more time. Your USP is a base, your TSP is the next step. And figure out when. When for each one of your audiences, when's the time for me to come and beg it? The reality is, on that unique selling proposition and timely, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. That makes you authentic. So what do we start to do this year moving forward at the beginning of the year? Simple. Embrace AI. every single day in every single way, not just graphics. Give me a forecast of my business for the next 5 years. Who's my competitors? Who's the competitor I don't know, et cetera, et cetera. Rethink your USP to a TSP too. Change your idea about SEO into SXO. Look at the way you search and how are consumers going to search. Remember, travelers don't bond with logos, they bond with personalities. So what's your personality out there and how do you grow that? Collaborate. Look around this room. There's tons of collaborators. You know, there's an old African saying that says, do you want to go fast? Go on your own. If you want to go far, go with others. And that's the idea, to collaborate as you should. Decide what coming back better means for each one of your travelers, for each one of your clients, and try to measure it. Get accessible, take your grandmother, take your great-grandmother, whatever it needs to be, and find out where the gaps are that you can fulfill. That's one of the best ones too. Take one of these ideas back to your team and ask them for an idea back. Find out what they're saying, the ones who are in touch with the travelers every single day. And another great American philosopher, Benjamin Franklin, said, the only way to predict the future is to create it. So my challenge is to you. I can't wait to come back and see what you've created. Thank you very much.